Thank you all for joining us. Again, this is our webinar for David Foster of the Hitman Cruise, sales from January 15th through January 20th, 2026. It has an unbelievably cool lineup, and I'm going to turn this over to Eric Marienthal, who's going to walk you through some of the really top talent Eric has been working with David Foster for the programming, and they've really done an amazing job. Eric?
Yeah, hi, Michael. Hi, everybody. Yes, and welcome to this incredible cruise. It's been so amazing to put this lineup together and these shows together. David Foster, I actually got to work with David Foster for the first time about 15 years ago when he produced a Barbra Streisand concert. I was one of about 60 people in the orchestra, but nonetheless, it went on my resume. So, and watching him work was really astounding, actually. But he's bringing his whole band, which are individually going to be performing throughout the cruise. And of course, the incredible Catherine McPhee is going to be performing on her own. And as part of David's show, Catherine got her, I guess, her original start on American Idol back in 2006, if I'm not mistaken. Her first record was, I think it came out in 2007, and it sold like 350,000 copies. It was really quite a hit. She's made several records since. But we also have the great Peterson Cotty. If you saw part of Spider-Man 2, he made a nice cameo in that movie. But he's just an amazing entertainer. He was on the Bodie Cruise with us last year, and just, obviously a huge hit here in New York at the Carlisle, and just has become, a huge star. And then several of the artists that David Foster has had on his tour and has produced, like P.S.S. Kano, the great vocalist, Daniel Emmett, who's like a pop classical crossover, very unique and incredible voice and strong, and his show is just so dynamic, just amazing. And then another great singer, Brenna Whitaker, is also on the cruise as well. We also have Take Six. If any of you are, familiar with Take Six, what an incredible a cappella vocal group they are. Let's see, the great Morgan James is performing. And she's performing with, Babyface, yeah, he's pretty good. Michael McDonald's pretty good too. Don't want to go too far down that list. Right. And Michael, Babyface, is performing with his group. Michael's performing with our band that we've done a couple of times before on a couple of other sailings. And he's just been he's just one of the guys, and you get that vibe when you're on stage with him and when you watch him perform. It's just, absolutely incredible. And he sounds every bit as good as he always has. We rehearsed with Marcus Miller last year for a cruise, and Michael started the rehearsals. He said, guys, look, I'm a little tired. I've been traveling. I'm just going to take it easy, this rehearsal, so bear with me. And he starts singing, and Marcus looks up, and after the song is done, and he looked at Michael and said, if that's taking it easy, then we don't even know what to expect for the concert, because that was, I guess it's only one speed, but it was, just incredible. And then filling out the lineup, the great Morgan James, a favorite of ours, just an incredibly powerful, beautiful singer. Emmett Cohen, the host of the Jazz Cruise, is on. And then J.R. Robinson, who's playing in David Foster's band, is bringing his own band as well. And the J.R. Robinson Band. And it's very great as well. Nathan East has, if you've been following Nathan's career, he's played with literally everybody. He and his son Noah have a great band that we're performing with. And then I know Frederic Yannet, the great French harmonica player, who again is just so dynamic. I think that's the hallmark of this cruise, is that every performance is going to be unique and powerful. And I think that really says a lot about David Foster as a producer, as a force. You know, everything that he creates just figuratively and real, you know, realistically turns to gold. And all the performances, I think that every performer is going to know that David Foster has chosen them for the cruise, and they feel extra special about that, and they don't want to be the one who, you know, is the odd man out. You know, I think they're all going to be watching each other's shows, and I just in communicating with all these people, I think you're going to get some extra special shows. It's rare that you know, artists get to watch other artists perform, and when you have your peers in the audience, I think that raises the level, your blood pressure, but also your performance level quite a bit. So it's going to be very, very special. I'm really looking forward to it.
Before we go further, if you all have any questions about the cruise or any aspect of it, we have a Q&A section is open. Just submit your questions and we'll answer as many as possible later in the webinar. That is really one of the major purposes here. You know, Eric, what I'm most impressed about with respect to the lineup is that lineup is a 7-day, 7-night lineup for a 5-day, 5-night cruise. It's going to be a ton of music, and that is just very, very, very cool. David Foster is obviously a very unique individual. He's an arranger. He's a writer. He's a musician. But boy, does he have an ear for talent. On one of our cruises, he had a couple people from the audience sing, and random. They had to be somewhat good, but there was this one lady sang a song, and David stopped her and said, "Why don't you sing this song?" And he names the song, and she does, and she sounded like a star. He says song selection. That is so important. But just listening to somebody for a minute, he knew where she should be going. Anyway, we're going to play for you right now a video of David Foster talking about his cruise, and then we're going to come back and do some more talking of our own.
Hey, Michael, you know, I'm really looking forward to performing with you tonight. You can hear the crowd up there. And we're very excited that you will be joining me on the David Foster Cruise next January.
David, it's my pleasure to do so. Performing with you has always been a great pleasure for me.
Well, thanks, my friend. I know you've done this before, so hopefully you can give me a few pointers to up my game.
Well, on a cruise, first thing I would do is stay away from the railing. And, they are fun, and the crowds are amazing, and no doubt you and Catherine are showstoppers when you cruise.
My wife, Catherine, of course. Between the three of us, Babyface, Peter Cincotti, Pia Toscano, and Take 6, we have plenty of talent to make 5 days and 5 nights of amazing music.
And you can count on me and the band to do our best.
I would expect nothing less. The dates, January 15th to the 20th, 2026. Those are the dates for the David Foster, the Hitman Cruise. This actually should be called the Michael McDonald Cruise, but it's called the David Foster Hitman Show Cruise. You don't want to miss this event. I promise you it's going to be great.
Thank you. Yeah, those guys, there's an awful lot of Grammys there and an awful lot of talent and an awful lot of songs. That was cool. That was cool. Do we have any questions yet from anybody?
When can we link this cruise on the Celebrity app?
It'll be October.
In October, you should be able to link. We're still 5.5 months from the cruise. We're just getting everybody ready. One of the things that we do at Signature Cruise Experiences, and for those of you on the webinar who have booked, you should have been getting our our get ready letters. We have about 11 of them. If you haven't seen them, or if you want to see them again, you can go on the website and look under book guests, and all of the get ready letters will be there. You can also read about the cruise in our jazz notes, which comes out almost every Wednesday. And of course, on Saturday of the Weekender, which is every single Saturday. I think we've missed one Saturday in 5 or 6 years. And we always have something about the cruise. I believe that, in fact, I know Jazz Notes, which comes out tomorrow, is a very nice article about Morgan James, written by Lee Mergner, who is our jazz voice whisperer. Lee was the editor and a publisher of A Jazz Times Forever, and he has forgotten more jazz than most people know. So you'll be able to enjoy that. The cruise is on a Celebrity Summit, which is the same ship that we use for almost all of our cruises. Next year we'll have 7 on that ship alone. We have one other, which is on a larger ship, and that is our country music cruise, Top Shelf, a country cruise. For those who are interested, who are on Foster or who are about to go on Foster, we have a special offers for you to stay on for the following week, going from 5 days to 7 days, and that's our Christian McBride at Sea cruise, which has a Samara Joy and Lettucey and Cecile McLaurin Sylvan and a whole bunch of Christian McBride's ensembles. It's another amazing music show, but you can stay in your same cabin. We dock at about 7 a.m. and about 11 o'clock, everybody comes on for the next cruise. It's actually kind of fun to watch, by the way. Any other questions right now?
I've got a good one. I think both of you will like it. Someone's asking, who works harder on these cruises, Eric or Michael?
Oh, that's Eric. Eric does. Because that's intense. Okay. I do lots of different things for the company, but a lot of it is before we cruise, selecting talent and advertising and all of those things. But once we get on the ship, I'm pretty close to a passenger, just kind of watching there and listening and things like that. And unless something goes wrong, no, Eric is the guy. There ain't any question about it, right, Eric?
Nobody works harder than Michael Lazaroff. I'm going to say that. That's going to be, nobody's ever going to change that fact. Yeah, it's a well-oiled machine. We, everybody works well together. We have our individual things, but, there's a lot of working. If somebody has a suggestion that may not be within their direct purview, it's well taken. A good idea is a good idea. Yeah, a lot of the, a heck of a lot of the work, like Michael said, is done prior to the cruise, including rehearsals. Everybody flies out to Los Angeles prior to the cruise, and all the bands that aren't, self-contained groups. And we rehearse the whole show, so the whole cruise. And it makes it a little less nerve-wracking when we get there, because we know, most of the questions are answered. The music is pretty well settled. Not to say that things won't change, because music is music, and but it certainly is nice that we're able to do that, and the artists really appreciate it. The sidemen, the band members, really are able to get into the music, perhaps if they haven't played it before, and it's great. That's one of the cool things about the cruises too, is that you're not just seeing the same old group with a show perhaps that you've seen in the past is likely going to be a bit different. Not only because the band members may be a little bit different, but also I think like I mentioned before, I think a lot of artists want to do something special for the cruise that they wouldn't do on a normal tour. And, that's why, again, rehearsals are important, but also, a lot of fun because it brings out a lot of, possibilities to do some unique things for the cruise performances.
The amazing performer Kirk Whalum told me something once. He said, you get the best performances on the cruises. And I said, why is that? He says, because rarely do we get to perform in front of our peers. And it is time to show off. It sort of reminds me about when NFL players talk about being on Monday Night Football or on Sunday Night Football. Everybody within the league is watching them play, and nobody wants to do badly.
Right. And this cruise in particular, that's very true. Then take it to one more level, which is it's David Foster's cruise. And
Right.
He's in that audience. And so it's one thing to play for your peers. It's another thing to play in front of a 16-time Grammy Award-winning music producer and composer who's probably one of the most, if not the most, prolific producer and composer of all time. Just that small detail.
Yeah.
We got a couple questions, it sounds like, from some people, this is their first time
Oh, good.
cruising with
We
us.
like that.
So basically the questions are, how many concerts do you expect to see a day, and what's the difference between first show and second show seating?
Sure. We run this cruise on a main show basis. What that means is around 5:30 or so, there's a main show, and that's for half the people, and the other half presumably have a dinner at that time. And then around 8:30 or so, that flips. And your seating, whether you are red or blue are the people who go to the first show, and red are the people or they go to the second show. That is an election that you make when you complete your reservation. This is totally driven by the size of the theater. The main theater comfortably holds half of our guests. And so we make sure that we divide all of our guests on the ship equally, 50-50. After, there are some shows during that time. We have some small shows in the Rendezvous Lounge and up in the Sky Lounge. But once we get past the red and the blue and everyone has seen their main show and has had dinner, we then have what we are famous for, Cruising After Dark, where we open up the entire ship and we have comedy and dancing and all kinds of music in various venues throughout the ship. When we're at sea, that same type of open festival style shows happens in the afternoons, and when we're in port, we have something usually beginning about an hour and a half before we sail, because people do like to go on shore. So we provide time for that. There are no charges for any of the shows. You've already paid for that. That is a part of your cruise price. And other than the red and the blue show every night, every other show is open, first come, first serve. You can walk in. If you like it, you can stay. If not, you can go do something else. That is our festival style. So we have two main shows every night. For this cruise, there are a couple of nights where it is a different late show, but you'll see, everybody will see all of the main shows. As an example, Michael McDonald prefers not to do two shows in the same night. So he will perform for the red group on one night and for the blue group on another night. Did I miss anything, Eric?
Well, in addition to all the performances, we have master classes, we have interviews with most of the artists, we have artist-hosted events like wine tastings and that kind of thing. There are listening parties where artists get in depth with their latest project, and they'll spin a track from the record and discuss how it was put together, how the composition was put together, how the recording, and you can ask questions. It's a very informal. Those are very informal, and they become very, very popular. It's a fun thing that we started doing a year or so ago, and so that's one of the great things about being on the cruise. Not only are you seeing performances, but you're really getting to experience some up close and personal, events like that, you wouldn't get at a club or a jazz festival, some unique scheduled events.
Before we finalize the last questions, we're going to show you one more video. This is of David Foster talking about the cruise.
Cruise video.
Yeah, the cruise. Yeah, it's the official cruise video.
Hi, I'm David Foster, and I want to personally invite you to join me this January on the most unforgettable music experience at sea. David Foster, that's me, the Hitman Cruise. We're sailing January 15th to the 20th, 2026. 5 days, 5 nights, and trust me, 5-star entertainment all the way. I'll be performing, curating the shows, and bringing some of the most talented artists I've ever had the pleasure to work with. Legends like Michael McDonald, my wife, the amazing Catherine McPhee, Peter Sincotti, Take 6, Pia Toscano, and a very special performance from the one and only, the incredible Babyface when we dock in Nassau. We're setting sail on the luxurious Celebrity Summit, a ship which I know so well and absolutely love. First-class dining, stunning venues, and the kind of atmosphere where music doesn't just play, it lives and it breathes every night. So much music going on everywhere, all over the ship. This cruise is a celebration of the music that's shaped my life, and maybe yours too. From chart-topping ballads to breathtaking performances, every note is crafted just to move you. So, come on board, let's make memories, make music, and make it the 5 nights you will never forget.
Very cool. Very cool indeed. And our next question, we have time for one or two more.
Well, with regard to first-time cruisers, what is the dress code? How should they expect to dress?
That's a great question. By the way, for folks who have booked, we'll have a webinar later on about all kinds of things like this, where we actually walk through every aspect of the cruise. Takes about 75 minutes. Attire is really simple. The most important thing is to be comfortable. You're going to wind up walking, even if all you do is just go to the shows, you're going to wind up walking way more than you probably do during the time when you're not on the ship. Comfortable shoes becomes very important. I'm not sure what business casual is or what that is, but that's sort of what this is. But it is not a fashion show. We do have one night where it is a dress-up night. Back in the old days, that used to be tuxedos and gowns. I've been doing this for 26 years, and I can tell you what year our cruises are just by looking at the attire on of our guests on formal night. Because I know I used to wear a tux back in the early time, and then we went to coats and ties, but it was suits, and then suits became sport coats with ties, and then it became sport coats without ties, and now it's kind of whatever you want. Men usually do wear jackets on that particular night, but not all. And women, you get to do whatever you want because you always look so good. It really doesn't matter. So that's the attire. But I would have comfortable shoes. The ship, temperature-wise, is either a one of two things. It's either slightly too warm or a slightly too cold. So layers is the best way. It's very difficult to regulate the heat and the air conditioning in a large ship like that. So it's but it's easy, and again, being comfortable is far and away the most important thing.
And the last question, I think, just to help give people an idea, someone wanted to know if there's a comedian or a magician on board, and also how can they expect to interact with the artists, whether it's autograph sessions or whatnot on the cruise.
We're going to have autograph sessions. There are lots of Q&As, and most of these artists, after their show, they mingle, they walk around, they talk. In the beginning, artists were a little bit concerned about doing that, but they realized that the people that come on our cruises are very, very nice people and polite and understand what is the right thing to do and what isn't the right thing to do. So we've had virtually no problems with that whatsoever. Most of our cruises do have a comedian. We haven't had a magician in a long time. One of my two pet peeves about cruises are regular cruises. They have a magician who isn't very good, and they have an accordion player who isn't very good. But David did not want a comedian because we only have 5 nights, and he wanted to have music and music. I will tell you that some of the artists that are on the ship are actually pretty funny, and I'm sure that they'll be joking around during their sets. But there is no formal comic for this particular cruise.
A lot of the other questions are rather specific, so we're going to reply to them directly via email within the next 24 hours.
Okay, did you hear that? We will respond within the next 24 hours to everyone who asks a question. Generally, during the webinar, we try to answer questions of a general nature and not specific things that any individual may be interested in. Sorry about that. But thank you for spending some time with us. We are here to help you to answer all your questions about the cruise. We've been doing this for 26 years. We've done over 100 of these cruises. This one is particularly interesting because of the quality of the talent and the intensity a 5-day cruise presents. A lot of people prefer 7, some people prefer shorter. This one is kind of like Goldilocks, right in the middle. And so that's how we're going to do it, and I hope that everything works for you guys, okay? Thank you very, very much. Eric, thanks for spending some time with us.
My pleasure. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Looking forward to seeing you on this incredible cruise.
And have a good show tonight, Eric.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, guys. Thank you.